this is Sean Hannity. It's not only the senators, it's all the establishment media apparatus that's like, man, we allow this anti-Ukraine, anti-NATO shit to go on for too long, almost. So this is Sean Hannity pretending that Joe Biden, who is being critiqued from the left by Trump and DeSantis, by the way. Here's Sean Hannity trying to pretend that Biden's being weak on Putin. Look at this video.
Russia and Putin's hostility and aggression against our country, the United States, has now reached a dangerous new height. Now, tonight, the question is this. What will your President Joe Biden do? Is he going to offer maybe another waiver for the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, put more sanctions in place? Putin's not going to care because he's selling his energy and getting filthy rich. He's selling it to China, the rest of the world. And all of this comes as a new axis of evil is emerging between these three top geopolitical folks.
Axis of evil. That's the line that's coming from these people, that Russia, China, Iran is the axis of evil, even though they have shown incredible restraint in resisting war against the West. If the West had it their way, Iran would have flipped their lid and created a pretext for war with Israel and the United States. If the United States had their way, China would have flipped their shit over the Taiwan visits and arming Taiwan, and war would have already started. If the United States didn't have their way, Russia would have been flipping, invaded Sweden and Finland and Poland. But it's not. They keep holding back because they want to protect the global working class from endless nuclear war. That was China going around the world like, have you guys seen this U.S. shit? This shit's crazy. The Biden administration, who has been extremely unhinged on this issue, Sean Hannity is trying to pretend is now weak on the global stage.
China's dictator Xi is now scheduled to hold a very rare but significant meeting with Putin in Moscow. So how much you want to bet they'll probably be trading jokes about just how pathetically weak America's president is? This is beyond embarrassing. This is danger to the safety and security of the entire world. America's enemies are on the move. They are aggressive. They are consolidating power. They're creating partnerships and alliances that the world better take note of while Joe Biden, your president, is asleep at the wheel. Russia and Putin took out an American drone over international waters. And I ask again, Joe Biden, what are you going to do?
So, what goes on in the mindset of the Fox viewer when they see Tucker Carlson on Ukraine? And then I think correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I think Sean Hannity is the hour after Tucker Carlson, right? I don't know exactly. Maybe the 2 hours afterwards. Maybe I don't got cable, so I don't know. But he comes after Tucker Carlson. So you hear Tucker obliterate the Ukraine narrative, and then Sean Hannity comes on afterwards and like, oh my God, we got to go to war with Russia, because what are you saying? What are you saying? You see what Sean Hannity wants to hear, because here's crazy ass Lindsey Graham again. I told you, you're gonna see this man a lot today. Crazy ass Lindsey Graham. This is what Sean Hannity wants to hear, and I'll show you guys this because this is the neocon wing of the Republican Party that apparently the squad and Bernie Sanders is standing lock in arms with Lindsey Graham now. There are Lindsey Graham Democrats now. There are Mike Pompeo Democrats. I shit you not. Listen to what Lindsey Graham here says here.
I'll say that if you ever get near another U.S. set flying in international waters, your airplane would be shot down. What would Ronald Reagan do right now? He would start shooting Russian planes down if they were threatening our assets. I'll say that
essentially,
if you ever get near
World War III,
another,
and Lindsey Graham was trending after this because everyone, even from the right, from the left, was like, Jesus fucking Christ. Look, breaking. Lindsey Graham just essentially called for World War III, saying if Russian planes get close to U.S. drones again, we should shoot down Russian planes. It's funny how Republicans claim to be anti-war until President Biden decides not to escalate things. Then they all decide that we should be aggressive. And this shows this conflict that's going on with the establishment, where you have the MAGA, the very small percent. I cannot emphasize this enough. Lauren Boebert, Matt Gaetz, Martin Taylor Greene, like a handful of others. Very small percentage of the Republican Party. The rest of them are aligned with Lindsey Graham and Sean Hannity. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this shit plays out here. I want to pass to you guys because we got another. We cover Mexico and AMLO next. I know Andrew got a lot to say on that. I pass to the panel. Zoe, I'll start with you. Zoe, anything you want to say to wrap this segment up?
Oh boy. While China and Russia are pursuing prosperity, Hannity is appealing to toxic masculinity, talking about how Biden's big old pussy who's just not standing up to Putin enough. It's really sad, the anti-intellectualism that takes place in political discord in this country. This false left-right paradigm is distracting people from the fact that the U.S. is a corporate dictatorship. And a 2021 study showed us that 53% of people living in shelters and 40% of unsheltered people were employed. So people who are working cannot make enough money to afford housing. Meanwhile, these plutocrats get threatened and the government bails them out in 48 hours. Meanwhile, we're supposed to be paying attention to this red-blue game that every network is launching. They are robbing the working class under our noses, and this duopoly keeps us divided amongst the working class instead of uniting on issues that impact the entire working class. And what's really missing from discourse is a class analysis. All of this is done to divide us and prevent the formation of class character. We live in an exploiter society, which is divided into the exploiter class and the exploited class, or the ruling class and the ruled class, because they own the means of production. So at some point, we're going to have to prioritize organizing outside of the system and pursuing our own liberation instead of fighting each other over this pretend rhetoric, which still stokes war at the end of the day, because Hannity and Micah will all tell you to go to war.
Well said, Zoya. Andrew, Jay, anything you guys want to add before we wrap the segment up? Jay Hall, make sure you unmute.
There you go. I think I'm good now. Yeah, I mean, like there were segments in that clip that basically said that were basically criticizing Russia of taking that drone down and whatnot. I'm like, why was there a U.S. drone that close to fucking Russian soil in the first place? You know, like. Why are you guys not talking about that? Like, what the fuck would happen if a Russian drone was that close to our soil? Like, do you think we'll take that shit sitting down? I mean, come on, you know. That's the one thing that I'm like just so fucking frustrated by. Like, you guys are making a big deal about like all this sort of intervention on close to Ukrainian border. You know, that's something I think either Hannity said it or somebody in this clip said it. Like. You know, of just further and further escalation into his border. There's no way we would take that shit down.
And they expect Russia and China to take the stuff that we would never accept. Like they defend their territorial sovereignty and protect their own interests. How dare they? But then they will openly say the United States is expected to defend their interests and continue to be offensive all over the globe. And that's going to show with the next story that I'm going to cover as well. But go ahead, Jay, if you want to finish your thought.
Yeah, I mean, this is a country that has a fucking the Monroe Doctrine. Like, we have the fucking Monroe Doctrine. We can literally take as an act of war anybody that comes even an inch into our fucking hemisphere. But at the same time, we're allowed to fucking go into other countries' hemispheres, like very close to fucking their soil, and then if they have anything to say against that, then that's an act of war. Like, that's some fucking ass backwards thinking that. Just insane to me. But yeah, that's all.
Andrew, anything you want to add before we move on?
I mean, I don't know how much more there is to say. I think you guys are covering a lot of what I would say. I'll just repeat one more time something we were talking about earlier, which is when Trump was in office, you had AOC calling the concentration camps what they are. There is slave labor and forced sterilization going on in those concentration camps. And it's all for profit. It's all run by Geo Group. And now that Biden is president, you have a faction of the Republicans who are, proclaiming limited anti-war sentiments because they know that it's popular. That's it. That's all that it is. It's when it's easy for them, that because they don't have power, they can repeat something that they know the people are really picking up on. And like you and Jay and Zoya mentioned earlier, Trump did try to he tried to start a war with Iran. The reason that Bolton probably pulled him back from actually launching a war against Iran is because Bolton's like, whoa. The whole point is to get them to do it. Like you said earlier, Nick, they're exercising restraint. And the U.S.'s goal, at least the neocons' goal in foreign policy, is to push that restraint past the limits to where their country's government will believe that it's actually in their interest to take military action. And at that point, the U.S. is like, well, we fucking got you.
Yeah.
If you guys remember Bill Hicks, he's that old comedian who died in the 90s or early 2000s. He had that line where he's like, I'm so sick of the United States acting like the bad guy in every Western movie.
Yeah.
He throws a gun at the feet of an unarmed man and says, pick up the gun. It's like, it's that shit every time.
Yeah, that's back when comedians actually used to challenge power. Now most of them are fucking bootlicking cunts to the Ukraine war now.